Um, I think we're good.
Are we live, boys?
Yes, sir. I think so.
All right. Cool.
You don't know how happy it makes me to like look over on my OBS and all I see is no dropped frames. Ah, it's fucking music to my ears, dude. It's actually so nice.
You have skipped 20% of your frames over the
Yeah, like
last
I'll
time.
okay, dude. Here's what I'll do. After we're done with this, I'll like do a test stream and I'll send you and I'll show you how fucking bullshit it really is. Like it
If
literally went up.
I've
It
seen the
goes to like
quality,
50%. Blue shirt kid. Who is wait, it's the blue shirt kid. Wait, dude. Blue shirt kid.
oh,
You know the blue shirt kid? You know what I'm talking about?
yeah,
Yeah, blue shirt
yeah.
kid. Let's go, dude.
Oh
Hold up, let
God,
me I actually need to check if um oh, you can actually make highlight videos. So you can actually clip,
dude.
which is pretty neat. What's up, blue shirt kid? Lamo. Let me see if like my quality and share is good. Just double check. Does the audio sound good? Moderation got an update for YouTube chat? Really? Oh, buggers. Fuck, I need to stop using Twitch lingo. Oh no. Just comes on to YouTube. Poggers, guys. Everyone's like, what the fuck? Imagine if they added like a better TTV for YouTube.
Ooh. By the
That'd be
way,
pretty pogcham.
have you heard of this trope? Ah,
What?
someone's making me flustered. You know, God damn it.
Flustered?
Anyway, I'm gonna.
Oh, so.
Have you heard of Trove?
Oh, that game. Yeah.
No, I mean,
The game, right?
did I say Trove? Did I say Trove?
Trove.
God,
Yes, Trove. That's what you said.
I meant Trovo. I meant Trove.
Trovo. I know Trivago. What else? Trivago.
Trivago. No, it's a new streaming platform that has.
Oh, that piece of shit. Fuck off. It's made by some random, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
the
nah.
Chinese.
Nah.
I mean, I was able to secure my name on there before it got copped at
Ooh,
least.
honestly, that's a good show. Might as well. I did that on TikTok as well. I just got
Yeah,
my name.
but I haven't used it ever.
Me neither.
Just
I don't plan. I mean, it's banned in India now, so it's like whatever. You can hold Alt to quick delete,
some
block,
people
etc.
buy
Comment.
like
Oh.
some people buy like original names, not buy, but like make several accounts with like names like creation and dope and like awesome, just so
Oh.
they can sell it later on. Original
Oh,
name.
wait, that's a guy. You know what? That's kind of smart. That's kind of smart. That's low-key very smart. All right. Well,
It didn't pay off for paladins, unfortunately.
it's a dead game. That's why it did. It's a dead ass fucking game. All right. Anyway, so let me change my mic volume a little bit. I can see myself in the red zone, which isn't good. Today we're talking about cancel culture. So recently, if you guys have been anywhere on Twitter, YouTube, a certain very big streamer, very big. I mean, how many subscribers did she have? I mean, does she have? Not did. Let me just search. Jenna Marbles.
Jenna Marbles.
She has 20.3 million subscribers. That's insane.
You know, when you think of Jenna Marbles, you think of old school YouTube back in the day, like the
Yeah,
ones
she's been around
started
for
it.
years upon years. Like, it's pretty mad. Wait, did she delete the video she made?
Which one was it? The
Like
recent
her
one?
so-called apology video or whatever? I think she
I
did.
still saw links slash thumbnails of it on like Google search when I was looking and stuff. So
Oh. I can't find it on the channel. Anyway, long story what? Long story short. At least this is my understanding of it. What had happened was the video she made. Oh, I'm just hearing myself. So basically, she had made certain videos that were quite racist, like what 9 years ago, 8 9 years ago, something like that. And they basically came to light, and she pretty much got cancelled for it. And by cancelled, I mean like overwhelming amount of hate, which is basically like trying. It's so canceling someone could you could say that it's just people like this sort of mob, right? It creates this sort of mob that is trying to hold these people accountable for the things that they've done in the past, which is a good thing on paper, right? But there's this sort of there's these sort of blurred lines about what is something that you can actually hold someone accountable on, or to what extent do they sort of deserve all of this sort of negative hatred or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, this is
So
true.
there's two sides of it as I see it. So obviously, what happened with Jenna Marbles was that she had made these videos years ago, and by years I don't mean 1 or 2 years ago, 9 years. 9 years is a long fucking time, bro. I look back 3 years ago, and I'm a completely different person, like completely fucking different. So 9 years ago, it's a bit, like that person could be a completely different person as compared to who they are, who they were, who they are now. They could be two completely different people. Um, so basically, she made a video. I didn't actually watch the video, but this is what has been summarized to me is that she basically apologized for whatever, blah blah blah, told how she had been that way, but she basically changed herself for the better, right? And I would say personally that that did show in her sort of personality. If she was still that kind of a person, like, well, a person who was racist, those things, they tend to sort of just ooze out, like you tend to just grasp on those things. Like even if they're not blatantly open about it, or if they're just trying to hide it, you can just somewhat tell sometimes. Um, but basically, she was still getting a lot of shit about it. And then that made her pretty much go, well, I'm just going to take a break from YouTube then, because she was getting overwhelming amount of hatred. That's my understanding of it. Now, I'm in the sort of side that believes that cancel culture is sort of, it's good on paper. It's like it's good in some more moderation, but I don't think it's a good thing to just go out and cancel someone, or so-called just try to ruin someone's career for something that they did when they were a different person, and it shows. I think it's very important that it shows that they've changed from that kind of a person. um so I think it's something that's good in moderation, and it has to be sort of a managed thing. Like I feel like it can get out of hand. A lot of the times, up next, apology for the video I made, PewDiePie. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think that's just a meme, though. I'm pretty sure. So my point is pretty much all of this cancel culture, all this shit. It has driven certain people to do um, pretty extreme things. Biggest example is Etika, which was very sad.
Unfortunate, yeah, yeah.
So I think it's something that is it's kind of become a very like walking on eggshells kind of a thing.
It's become like a lot of people are treating cancel culture or cancellation in general like it's an activism movement, like
True.
something where it's justice, it's social justice, it must be preached for, it must be. It's like there are little losers on the internet waiting for the one moment that somebody does something wrong or slips up, waits till they get big, and then brings it up a few years later and goes, boom, this is what this person did before. And it's interesting because I saw like a quote from the Guardian article saying cancellation is not activism, and that's exactly true. People are treating it like it's just like it's a vigorous political campaign to bring a great social change to a nation, but that's
True.
not it. People are abusing the use of activism itself in this and using it to cancel people, using it to ruin people's lives. And I don't think it's like you said, like the person someone may have been a few years ago may have changed. And on that note, during that time, like a few years ago, nearly a decade, when Jenna Marble was making videos,
Hmm.
what was seen as funny and general YouTube comedy within her content standard was not politically correct enough. And by that
True.
term, I simply mean people weren't judging the content as much depending on like how inappropriate the jokes were. People were saying it very lighthearted, it's just a joke. It's YouTube, it's just for content. That's not how the person really is. And a lot of ridiculous, silly type jokes were on YouTube at that time, and people were fine with it. But of course, now times have changed, and people do get a little touchy when something is said here and there. But I feel like that shouldn't represent a person's whole career. And I think that's the main issue today is how do we yeah. I think more or less like what type of people are the ones that are sort of going out and judging a person when they don't know them, they don't know the full story, and they're sort of abusing that right. And it's unnecessary, untailored hate. And I think there should always be a neutral side whenever you're thinking about the internet. There isn't just one side. That person isn't always the villain. And there are so many examples of this. Like, there are times where it's justified. For example, recently in the Smite community, which we were talking about recently, right? DM Brandon, right?
Yeah.
Now, this guy, forgive my language, was known to be a degenerate in the Smite community.
Oh no, he
And
really was.
people have been, on forums trying to get this guy banned for quite some time. And this is a guy who was actively doing bad things.
Right.
Jenna Marbles was not actively doing bad things. There's a difference. She made a mistake. We all make mistakes, and now she's paying for it. Yet, someone who was actively doing bad things didn't get as much hate or even, like there's a difference. With DM Brandon, his ban is justified. His step down from social media is justified because he continued to make not mistakes, but intentional bad decisions, intentional bad content. And
you make a mistake once.
Yeah.
You don't
or
sort
twice,
of
or 3 times. We're human.
Yeah. This guy's my manager, yikes. Shut up, Dodo. So what my understanding of it is, as human beings, we make mistakes and we learn from them, right? Like, I think that's a it's a very fair sort of, it's a very fair thing to make a mistake and then learn from it. I know I made plenty of fucking mistakes in my life. I still don't think I'm a good person, but I'm definitely a lot better than I was like a couple years ago. Straight up, 100 fucking %. I was very sort of rotten in the way I was, in the way I thought, in the way just my mind worked. And I changed myself, and it kind of shows. There's a reason I've been very open about the kind of person I was. It's because I know I have changed, and I want to make that perfectly clear to everyone. And if anything, I want to set an example, right? A lot of these people that sort of get cancelled, they're people that have changed themselves and they've done the same thing, but they don't. I guess they don't make it perfectly clear for their audience. So whenever something from the past comes out, everyone's just like, "Oh well, I thought you were better. I thought you were like this, blah blah blah." And see, the thing is, there's this sort of like with content creation in general, with content creators, you don't really know them. It doesn't matter if you've seen every single video, every single live stream this person has done. You don't personally know them. Like, I think people sort of think that they know the content creator that they're watching, which it may feel like that. It definitely does feel like that, and it's something that I've experienced firsthand. But you don't know that person. You know an idea of them. You know a sort of content personality. Does that make sense? Like a stream personality or a video personality. Like, it may not be very different than who they are like in real life, but it may be sort of sort of it may be sort of just picked out. Like, they may pick out certain parts of their personality and put it online, but other parts which may not be as complimentary, they may not show them. So I think it comes as a surprise for a lot of people, and I don't know. It's come down to this, that if you make a mistake, you pretty much just get your career ruined for it.
I think again it comes down to this over exaggeration of activism when it comes to judging the action of a user online for their content. I mean, I don't want to point any fingers or uh, say any names, but I think it's content creators like Keemstar that often over dramatize, people's actions, and it causes a lot of unnecessary and forced hate to be spread online. And it's a huge issue in general, not just online but in real life as well. Like a lot of the time, when it comes to cancellation, comedians like Kevin Hart and Shane Gillis are targeted because they are comedians, but they make jokes. It's what they do. So if they do come out a little offensive, they do come out a little offensive. But
Sure.
that's all in the nature of making jokes. It's all in the nature of insult, all in the nature of laughing. It's nothing that is meant to be initially offensive or racist or whatever it may be. And it is growing out of control, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be a fine line between what is perceived as there needs to be a fine line between what is perceived as counsel worthy, I'll say it's counsel worthy, and what
Yeah.
is, simply a mistake that a content creator needs to acknowledge and
Just take
because it
accountability.
reflects. Mm-hmm.
Like I think a lot of it is that. I think it's a lot of it is just people sort of, no, I wouldn't say forcing, but putting pressure on said person that has made that mistake to just take accountability. And a lot of the times, it ends with them doing that, but they still sort of get, um, like just a lot of shit for it, which is fair. Like if you make a mistake, like okay, let's take PewDiePie for example. Okay, he's made plenty of blunders in his career, right? Can we all agree on that?
Yep.
But I don't think that guy is a fucking Nazi. I don't think he's racist. I don't. And not just no, I don't really even. I watch some of his
I
stuff,
mean,
but I'm not like
it,
biased enough, to make it to say something like that. I think it's just because he made those mistakes and then he acknowledged them, right? And then he
it
apologized for he's changed himself in that way.
see the we know we've been exposed to so much of PewDiePie, and not
Right.
just the internet, the entire world in general. It's almost ridiculous to think of someone as PewDiePie as a Nazi now. It's like, is PewDiePie a Nazi? You can't be serious. Like
Mm-hmm.
we've been exposed to so much of him. But in
Okay.
Jenna Marble's case and many others, we don't always get to say their full sides. And that's an issue that leads to this. This is why it's so over dramatized when something is done wrong, because Jenna Marbles is a character. When she did YouTube in the past, she was perceived as a certain character, hence Jenna Marbles,
Yeah.
like she was perceived in a certain way. So when something goes wrong, people don't look at Jenna for who she is, and they look at the character and go, the character said this, we've got to persecute them. Oh my God, put it in forums, share it everywhere. And this person is a racist, or this person is this, or this person is anti, I don't know, whatever it may be. And that certainly isn't the truth. And I think you have to look a lot of time at audiences,
Mm-hmm.
um, radicals as well. Radicals are the ones that sort of eat this type of news up and go, this person is a big content creator on YouTube.
Me, the
YouTube needs
council.
to reform their
Yeah.
policies because this person is being allowed to do this. The radicals love doing this. They
Mm-hmm.
eat
Yep.
up the drama and they allow it to go for their own needs and their own desires. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean the rest of you out there should suddenly be sheep and buy into what a radical or whoever is saying. Allow yourself to form your own thoughts. So you then may
Exactly.
say, I believe this person. Because a lot of time we don't do that. Like you see something on the news, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean to get dark or anything. Like you see something in the news like this person has attacked this person, or this
Okay.
person has a pedophile. I didn't mean to go there, but yeah, I went there. This person is a pedophile. When you see a lot of this on the news, the instant sort of human response is to say, oh, this is a bad person. Oh, this person is disgusting. Oh, we're following what we think is, the norm based on what
Ethical.
the media has perceived this person to be. Yeah, exactly. But in reality, we don't really know the full story. We just know the headline. And I
Yeah.
think that's that's basically where the main issue is coming from. How can we change it? How can we re-perceive it so we're not just looking at the headline? We have a story where we can actually make our decision and say, this is not counsel worthy. We don't get enough of people fighting back and saying, this person should not be banned. We never get enough of that. What's seen more is the negative over the positive. It happens a lot. Yes, we know that. Like, people don't know the amount of good Jenna Marbles has done for her community, for content creation, for charities in general. People don't know. Like,
Right.
it's complicated. It is complicated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not gonna suddenly look at a comedian one day just because he did me wrong. What, he said I was fat? So what? Who cares? Why would I get butthurt? Would I stand out of the audience and go, "You called me fat? I'm offended"? We need to counsel this comedian right here, right? Who does that? Come on, guys. We
I
needed
I think
like
it's okay. So
smarter.
I think there's a fine line, right? Like I think a lot of people sort of take edgy jokes as a way to sort of cancel people. You know what I mean?
It's
I
their
think it's
justification for it.
I
It
think that
shouldn't be
yeah,
justification for it.
yeah. I
There's
don't
no
think like there's a very fine line in knowing like what's sort of just an edgy joke with the intention of making people laugh and what's actually coming from a place of hatred, you know, of coming from a place of
also
actually causing like sort of actually being malicious. And I think this is a very big difference, and honestly, it's very clear. I'll give the example of this YouTuber I like to watch. His YouTube is Sniping Soup. So it's like a lot of these YouTubers, his sort of whole group, McNasty, Soup, all these guys, they make a lot of fucking edgy. They make Rainbow Six videos, and a lot of their sort of jokes are very edgy, like pretty
I
fucked
mean,
up, as you
even,
would say.
even,
Like,
even freaking Fits, like
yeah,
they make a lot of racist jokes, a lot of feminine, like
yeah,
they
yeah,
make a
yeah.
lot of jokes in
Just
general.
edgy.
And the other day, I saw the four of them actually talking,
Hmm.
and one of them was actually like, one of my viewers came up to me and said, "You can actually be serious about something about a black person or something." And he said it just goes to show that half the viewers don't know that they're joking about the content. Like, that's not the type of people they are. It comes down to the viewers as well, that sometimes may not know, they can't read the context of humor, that it's actually silly
True.
humor or that's actually humor. Sometimes your viewers don't read it. They don't read you, and they don't see beyond the horizon. You know what I mean
They
by
take it at like surface level. They don't understand. No, I get what you mean. I think I get what you mean. So I think okay. So what I basically meant to say was when the whole George Floyd thing was happening, this particular YouTuber that I was talking about, Snapping Soup, he went on Twitter and he said something along the lines of, "I know I make a lot of like edgy jokes. I make a lot of like this like risky jokes and stuff. Why have the icons disappeared again? I hate OBS."
that?
Okay, go on with what you're saying. I'm gonna fix this. I'm sorry. I don't understand why it keeps fucking doing this.
Jesus, dude.
I don't know,
It's
mate.
look, it can't be one stream without being a little scuffed. That's okay. It's
It's annoying.
okay. I mean, on the
Yeah, what were
lines
you saying?
of what people, yeah, it's just the failure to read the context of humor. It's a huge issue among viewers. And like, if you grow up with someone and you quite genuinely know them as one character as opposed to who they truly are, when
Hmm.
news like this comes out, you see it and you go, "Oh, this is a streamer I used to know, and I knew them this way, but now I'm not sure how I'm meant to view them anymore." Do your research. Go find out as much as you can about the situation. And a lot of time, it's news. We may not be bothered enough to find out the truth here, what's going on. I mean,
Right.
for goodness sake, if I was to ask the average person on the internet who knows about this news, hey, have you heard about the whole Jenna model situation? Do
Probably
you
a
do
few.
you remember? Do you remember that video? Huh? Do you remember something like that? They'd be like, no, I don't actually. It was what? Not how long ago was it?
Like
Give me a
9
break.
years.
Give me a fucking break, dude. That's ridiculous. Nine
Yeah.
years? You're gonna penalize someone on something 9 years ago? Now, like, it's severe. It's the severity as well. Like, it's humor intended for joking, intended for laughing, not serious. So that's the severity of it.
I
It's not
mean,
very severe at
I
all.
think I think the one that the video in question, it was actually like pretty racist. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but like okay, it's so when he tweeted something along the lines of, I know I make a lot of edgy jokes and shit, but don't actually like hate someone for the color of their skin. Like, dude, if you go on their videos, like I'm not joking, their videos are like a minute in and there'll be like a 9/11 joke. Straight up. Like they're
That's
super
that's the humor. It's
edgy like
stupid
that.
humor. The maturity level of that humor is not meant for like
A
you know
fucking
that's
like a
that's
kid.
their type of humor. It's not humor that is meant to be taken to heart at all. It's the
Exactly.
type of humor that's silly humor. Silly humor is intended for all purposes to be silly. It's not even in a normal comedic context where you make a joke and it's like, it's funny. It's silly humor can be dark humor. Silly humor can be stupid humor. It's a combination of all that type of humor to make
Hmm.
something so serious seem as ridiculous as possible. In fact, if you look at the way they move, the way they display the jokes, it's also done in a quite silly manner. So it's very clear it's silly. It's the failure of the audience to read what the person. I mean, fucking hell, read their lip. I can't. I don't know how. It's frustrating.
I know
It's
it's
just a
very
little
frustrating.
frustrating.
I think a big part of it is just people having different senses of humor, which is fucking fine. But you need to realize that okay,
Not
no,
see
no, you
lost
need
people effect.
people need to realize that if something is not for you, move along. Just be like, "I, this isn't for me," and just get on with your fucking life. It's
Not
not that
I'm gonna
hard.
I'm
Like,
gonna go
you,
into a fucking forum, spend four
yeah, I'm gonna
hours
go
of my
on
life
Reddit,
writing
bro.
why
I'm just
somebody
gonna
should be banned.
yeah, literally, like it's like if you don't like something, just refuse to engage with it. For example, okay, going back on the topic of the last week's video, when we were talking about all the women coming out with allegations towards certain very big names. Oh, towards some very big names in gaming, and one of those people, like actually a day after we streamed that, it was Mini Lad, right? And he admitted to
Hey,
it later on, etc., etc. Now, Mini Lad is someone that I have watched for years, and he made this sort of apology thing, and he talked about how he's gonna take some time off, he's gonna better himself, etc., etc. Now, I enjoy Mini Lad's content a lot. Okay, I always have, and it's honestly very depressing to see that he had actually done these things that he did. Um, but and personally, I didn't particularly like his so-called apology or whatever the fuck. I just didn't find it very convincing personally. Uh, so I unsubscribed and I just refused to engage. I didn't fucking go and just like be toxic towards him. I wasn't. I didn't sort of join this or have this like mob mentality of trying to cancel him or ruin his career. I do think that he's a good person, but he made a mistake. And I don't personally believe that he's sort of rectified himself. But he said that he's going to do that. I want to see proof of him doing that. And when he does that, when he shows sort of very like viable improvement in the way he is, I'll be fine with it. My point is, if you
all
don't
right,
like something, you have the choice to not engage with it. You
all
don't
right.
have to sort of take it personally.
On that note, let's look at it from a different perspective. Has Jenna Marbles taken steps to redeem herself from her past humor that people may have found offensive?
I think
Now,
so.
I think the first step when it comes to these kind of things is apology video. Tick. Has her personality as a YouTube personality changed? Tick. Do has her content changed? Tick. So that's 3 ticks I'm kind of getting on the redeem list at the moment. Like, what else do you want? Do you just want to crush this person's life? Is that the intention?
Yeah, that's what I
Internet?
don't understand. Like, people are allowed to make mistakes, right? As long as you actually improve and sort of rectify yourself, it's fucking fine. You're human beings. You can't expect these content creators to never make mistakes, right? But if they're like consistently not changing the way that they are, for example, the case of that DM Brandon person you talked about, then you just know that shit's wrong. They deserve whatever's coming to them. Because then they haven't, they're still that kind of a person. They're still preaching and doing the shit that they did. They haven't changed themselves. They made a mistake and they didn't even realize that they made a mistake and they're just carrying on with what they do anyway. So
To be
that's
fair,
justified, but this isn't.
society's in a very sensitive state at the moment, man. There's a lot of shit going on. People are getting butthurt very easily. So, I mean, if this was maybe 1 year or 2 years ago and somebody saw this, they'd be like, oh, there'd be a Twitter beef for a while. Keemstar would pop up, doers, what's going on, news, blah, blah, and then it would burn over. But because of
much.
how sensitive things are right now, like, it's, it's not surprising this has sort of popped up the way it has or
Right.
blown up the way it has. And I think, I remember, what was the quote that Jenna Marbles said? She said she doesn't want to bring like negative things or, hurtful things to a society like this right now. When she was doing her apology video, so forth, so forth. She was very emotional as well. I mean, like, this isn't just an issue in its entirety. This is someone's life. People don't look at the people behind the camera,
Yeah.
the ones doing videos sometimes when you spout out this unnecessary hate. Because, I mean, if you were in that situation, put yourself in that situation for a moment, what would you do? You would apologize, right? But why
Yeah.
is this person still hating me? But you would do this, you would do this, you would do this, you would do redeemable actions. At the end of the day, the action itself is, irredeemable. Unspoken for, it's not great. It doesn't send a great message, but nobody told Jenna Marbles at the time that her video, the one she made, was, sending a bad message. In fact, most of her community probably even liked the video. I don't have any factual evidence of this, but it's likely, because wouldn't people criticize this then as well? No. Why is it only popping up now?
I think it was a very genuine video from what I heard. It seemed like a very genuine video.
It seemed like the type of videos that were going around like wildfire at the time, because everyone was, feeding on that silly humor. Everyone was feeding on it. Like,
I
you
think
were
there's
a kid, I was young.
also I think there's also sort of the, when you said like it's very sensitive, I think the snowflake mentality is definitely a thing. One thing that
Yeah.
definitely comes into my mind is people tend to get offended on other people's behalves. For example, I talk about this comedian law. His name's Daniel Sloss. I would definitely recommend 2 of his stand-ups are on Netflix. They're very fucking good. He's very fucking good. He's very funny, and his sort of way around with jokes and just in general is very. I find it very good. Um, it's very dark, but it's very fucking good. Like, just the way he sort of approaches the concept of dark humor is very fucking good. So in that, he basically talks about his sister who had a disability and she passed away when he was around like 6, right? And in that, he makes pretty much a lot of jokes about people that are disabled, I guess, in a way, or about her. So when
It
he
could be his
makes,
way of just remembering her,
well,
it brings some
maybe,
joy.
but like basically, his point was while in that stand up, his point was that she was my fucking sister. I can joke about her if I fucking want to. Who are you getting offended on behalf of? And that kind of makes sense to me. Like, obviously, if you're someone that's being like blatantly racist or blatantly fucking sort of talking about, like, okay, if you're just being a homophobic piece of shit, right? That's not funny. People are allowed to get offended on on that, right? Like, that's not something that's up for debate. It's not. But I think um there's this sort of group of people that tend to just find everything and get triggered by something somewhere or the other. Like, there's genuinely people that will get offended off of fucking anything, and I'm not talking about racist, homophobic, or all of those extreme things. I'm talking about very little things, and I think
I see.
that sort of mentality is growing. Um, and I think it's linked very closely to sort of playing the victim. But the problem with this entire argument is that a lot of the times when people talk about, oh, snowflake mentality, everyone's just fucking butthurt or sensitive. The people that make these sort of arguments, most of the time, they're people that are sort of trying to just make really fucking bad so-called jokes, but they're not actually coming from a place of making people laugh, but again, having the sort of malicious intent. Like, if you get cancelled for something you said a couple of weeks ago to your friend, right? And that video goes online, and people are canceling you for it. That's not them being sensitive or them being snowflakes. That's just you being, I don't know, racist or whatever the fuck. Like, I think there's this fine line, and it often gets overcrossed or whatever the fuck, where people will hide behind this, oh, everyone's just sensitive, or everyone's just a snowflake, when they're actually just not sort of making edgy jokes, but actually trying to be malicious with their jokes. You know what I mean?
Hey, yes, I do. I do know what you mean.
It's usually on Twitter as well, which is just funny.
Twitter's a shit
Twitter's great
stuff.
for this. Twitter's actually great for this. Literally, like 30 minutes ago, I was on Twitter, and there was this one particular person on Instagram, some blonde white chick, and she had pretty much posted a bunch of racist stories. It was talking about black people and how they were still slaves, blah blah blah. You know, the usual racist stuff. So this person that was friends with or acquaintances with this person, they took a screenshot of their Instagram, their fucking LinkedIn, all of that shit, and they just posted it on Twitter and went, Twitter, do your thing. So
Yikes.
all Twitter did, there were comments, right? If you scroll down, the comments were pretty much them messaging the place where this person was employed and sending them receipts of the shit that they've been posting, which is fair. I don't think that's canceling them. I really don't.
This is what you
I think that's just
call
holding them
Karen.
accountable for the shit that they said. Like, that's just straight up consequences of the actions that they made. That's just all it is. That's not canceling someone. Because that
Okay.
happened like a week ago, or a month ago, or a year ago. Chances are you probably haven't changed. And
Like, did
people
you
don't
see
change
the
in a day.
picture of those police people who were like reenacting the death of a certain boy? And they did it in a picture, and then they were having fun, and
I have not seen
it
that, no.
leaked. But basically, as a result of the cons, as a result of the actions, the consequences were that they got fired. They got let go from the job. It's really and truly like, yeah. Again, it's reactionary. It's just the consequences.
Do you remember that fucking Karen with that, who had that like really evil face?
Which
Do
Karen?
you
They're
remember
like,
the? Okay, there was this video, right? She was like wearing a white shirt. She had like hands back and everything, and she just had this really fucking evil look on her face. It
I
was a
love the
video
way
where the
every Karen sounds the same. Yeah, go
pretty
on.
much. So I think there was some black person who was I think like writing on a poster or something about BLM, and she basically was just making, I don't know, just being a Karen, just being a racist Karen, pretty much the usual stuff. And so basically, what happened is that person lost their job, their husband lost their job,
Ooh.
etc., etc. Like just shitstorm. I'm like, that's not cancel culture, man. That's just you fucking sort of facing the consequences for the actions you made, and these are actions that you just made. Like, you don't change, you don't stop being racist in 2 days. That's bullshit. Fuck off. That's actual bullshit. That's not how it works. It's a constant change in your mind, and it's gradual. It is. I know, because I mean, I wouldn't say that I used to be racist, but I did have a certain way of thinking, which was just a straight sort of reaction for the from the because of the society I grew up in. But I changed that, right? And it was very gradual. I didn't change it in a couple of days. That's not how it fucking works. It takes
Mm-hmm.
time. That's what I mean. Like, sort of, if you make a mistake and you change yourself and sort of show how you're changing, I think you're fine. Like, if someone, okay, like a year, like a year after we're doing this, right? A year,
Yeah.
like 2021, someone comes out and they have a, I don't know, like a chat of me saying the N word, but that chat
Yeah.
is from like 2014, 2015. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to give two fucks. I'm going to apologize and I'm going to show how
Yeah.
I've changed myself, but I'm not going to give two fucks, because that person who I was in 2015, 2016 is so fucking different than who I am now. And that's fair, because I know I have changed and I've sort of showcased how I've done that. But I feel like a lot of people don't get that. And they're just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, just fucking cancel them anyway. Just ruin their fucking career for a mistake that they made as a human being, and a mistake that they changed, right? Like a mistake that they learned from, but just cancel them. Like, it's just so baseless. It's so mob. It's just mob mentality, man.
Baseless accusation.
Faceless mob mentality. I love like how much of our world loves to like use their brains, like use the like individual cells, like just be smart, you know. I just
Mm.
love how much of our world actually thinks of what they do on a daily basis, like thinks about the meaning of life and shit, just like absolute big braining life.
Mm.
Ah, like how hard is it to just think on your own 2 feet, think on your own head? Like it doesn't seem that hard to me. I mean, I don't know, pick up a book once in a while or something.
Yeah.
I'm the reason I'm like this is because I genuinely don't know what to say at this point. I can't really make an excuse for this mob mentality,
Mm-hmm.
nor can I justify what, you know, humor either. I can't justify it because there's always going to be someone that's going to be offended. Let's be honest.
True.
There's always going to be a mob as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest thing is how do we mitigate this from happening? Do we mitigate this from happening by, site policy being this is what you should not do in the platform? This is
I
how
guess
you should
so.
filter out your content, etc. I don't know. Maybe that helps.
I mean, to a certain extent, like, I know that some of the things I say, and I usually do make a lot of edgy jokes and just fucked up jokes in general. But if that offends you, I'm sorry, but that sounds like a you problem. Like, I know the things I say, they're not coming from a malicious place. If whatever I say, like, for example, you're black, I'm
Mhm.
brown. How many times have we been in a call and there's been like a police cop car like going outside your place or whatever, and I'll be like, Alfie, run. How many times have I done that?
That's
Like,
pretty much everyone at this point, but
like,
it's cool. It's
like,
cool.
you know that's not coming from a malicious place. I'm not actually trying to be racist when I say that shit. And I know
Of
that if
course.
you try to make like a tech support joke or something, like, I know it's not coming from a malicious place, right? I know that you're not actually trying to offend me. There's a
Yeah.
difference in sort of it's as I said, man. If something offends you, just disengage. You're allowed to do that. The world is big enough. The fucking YouTube, Twitch, all this shit. It's big enough for you to disengage yourself and find something that you fuck with. It's not that hard. Just do that. Honestly.
Yep.
like, but at the same time, I do think it's important to sort of hold certain content creators that do make these mistakes, but don't um sort of improve because of them, or accept accountability for them. And it's important to put pressure on them to sort of do that. You know,
Hmm.
what are you thinking? Hmm.
How would you wrap this up in terms of what can we learn from the Jenna Marbles situation to avoid this from happening again?
Um, I would say, like, if we're talking about what I would do personally, or what I have been doing personally, I think it's important for people to be open about their past. I think it's important, I like, just have that out there and explain it. Explain why you thought that way, or why you did the things you did, and explain how you changed that. That's something that I've always done, and I think it's a very effective way of sort of showcasing, not for the sake of just not getting cancelled, but for the sake of actually helping other people who might think the way that you used to think, right? I think it's a good way
Yeah.
to sort of not only prevent and get like sort of hold not hold but accept accountability for the shit that you've done, but also showcase that you've improved for that. Offensive jokes aren't always my thing when it comes to things like race. Yeah, but like see, that's the thing. It's, you're allowed to have that. Like, you're allowed to sort of have your a certain kind of sense of humor. Not everyone has that same sense of humor, and that's completely
Yeah.
okay. Like, it's fine, man. I know some people that fucking like what's that Indian comedian, Andre Russell or some shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I hate his humor. It is so fucking shit. As a German, whenever someone makes a Nazi-esque joke at me, I just cringe. I don't harass the person, but I'm still angry on the inside. That's understandable. Like, that's definitely understandable. See,
I mean,
here's the
you're
thing,
going
right? I'll
a
tell you
little bit
why.
at
I'll tell you why. Because most of the time, when you're talking to a German person, and most of the time there is no sort of Nazi joke that you can make that is actually funny, that is actually coming from a place of banter and not being malicious. Most of the time, it is just malicious. That's why you sort of are get angry on the inside, because you know that that's coming from a malicious place, and it's very easy to tell that. It's so fucking easy. Like that, you ordinary. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never made a joke like that with you or Chrome, because the fact is that it's just not that funny. Oh, your
I love
German
Chrome.
or Nazi jokes. All right, Chrome's been fucking annoying me lately. High key, he's an annoying little shit. He's an annoying little shit. That's what he is.
Dude, he's just too 600 IQ for you, man. Like, he's just
True.
on a huge level.
True.
I haven't ascended to it yet.
I think it's
I
just
mean,
that, like, if you're making a joke about something, like if I'm joking around with a friend, I know their personality and I know how far I can go, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, you know
mhm.
that if you make a fucking tech support joke, if it's actually funny, I will definitely laugh. 100%. Most of the time, I make them myself. Like, I don't even give you the fucking chance. You know me. But, like, it's sort of just knowing your audience and sort of um, making a decision in that sort of order. But I think when you have a huge audience and may have people that are coming in and checking you out, blah blah blah, and if they get offended over something you say, then that's their fucking problem. Honestly, I generally think that that's their fucking problem. Obviously, it fucking it, like, there's a fine line, right? But it's very important to know which side of that sort of line a certain person is lying on. Like, for example, Keemstar, fuck Keemstar. I fucking hate Keemstar. He's such a piece of shit. And I cannot believe that he
oof,
still has a platform. He
oof.
he's one of the main people that preach hatred.
All right,
He's
all right. Here's something that's kind of like an inverse sort of situation.
okay.
So we look at Keemstar, right? Somebody who sort of over dramatizes mistakes and sort of preaches hatred. You know, he's the drama king. Let's be honest. Can't take that
Okay.
away from him. What if this is his take on everything that goes on, but his humor standpoint. Do we
Because it's not
suddenly
humor
cancel
though.
Keemstar
No, it's not
because of
humor
that?
though. This is not humor. Him sort of going.
See, that's your opinion. Another person may disagree with that entirely. They may be like, "This is Keemstar's take on humor, and it's
I mean,
entertaining for me."
Keemstar isn't exactly a funny person. He's an entertaining
I
person.
mean, yeah,
I'll
he's
give you
not.
that. I'll give you no. See that's the difference, right? There's a difference in sort of making a joke and just trying to be entertaining by pulling someone down. And there's a limit, okay? There's a limit. If someone tomorrow wants to make a fucking roast video on me, I urge you, please fucking do it. Roast me, roast the absolute shit out of me. I fucking dare you. That sounds fucking funny. But there's a difference, okay? If you're just roasting me and then you're like, no, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it again. And I'm gonna witch hunt this person. I'm gonna send over hatred to this person. Then you're in the fucking wrong. There's a difference to criticize someone and roast them and just sort of make it entertaining. I think that's a very good thing. Honestly, I really like that. For example, someone like Cody Ko does that, and I'm a huge fan of that because I think it's very entertaining. Because again, like the videos and stuff that he has made of sort of so-called roasting these people, it's coming from a place of making entertaining or humorous content. It's not coming from a place of actually preaching hatred. But that's the difference with Keemstar. His way of content is to actually create drama and create these sort of situations where more often than not, one person gets a fuck ton of hate online. And if anything, we all know how bad that gets. Ethica last year, Reckless, like a couple days ago. That shit builds up, man. You may think that you're just talking to someone that's like on a live stream or whatever the fuck, and your comments is going to get lost in this huge pile of comments. But the fact is that 1,000 positive comments can get overwhelmed by just one negative comment as a content creator, at least from what I've experienced of what my friends that are content creators have experienced. Like the negative definitely stands out and it has a much larger impact than the positive ones. So my point is just be careful of what you say online, but at the same time, like I think it's completely fair for you to sort of practice your fucking right to make jokes about shit. But then again, you need to sort of make sure that it's coming from a place of actual like just banter and not it not being malicious in any way. At least if you have like a small group of people. If you have a huge audience, then it's like it kind of changes, I think. Because as a creator, you would know what your audience says, you know what your audience likes, and if someone random comes around and checks your content out and they get offended over something you say, then that's their issue. That joke was not directed especially to you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've summed up pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about. Oh, and your shit disappeared again. I don't know why this fucking... Oh, wait, no, I fixed it. Oh, I figured out what was doing it. Lama.
Alright, I mean, in conclusion, I think here we can't... I think it's all about perception, isn't it? It's all about how other people are perceiving it. And I think a way to mitigate the effect of cancellation is to direct people in a way where they can perceive something to be how it is intended. Does that make sense?
No, I think it does. I think it does.
Okay. If it's perceived to be the way it was intended to perceived, then we don't get these issues. And I think that can happen by, either a platform filtering out the content so it is made so it goes
Like
to the people who
filtered.
are interested in it, so it's,
just make like a fucking category on Twitch which says dark humor. I beg.
Oh,
I
that
actually
would be
beg.
amazing. That would actually be amazing. But it would also be controversial. Because how do you stop trolls from getting on a category for that, or cults preaching like random shit?
Actually, yeah, that's very true. I guess that's part of the reason why it doesn't exist, you know?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, I honestly, I just don't want to live in a society where I have to walk on eggshells. I want the liberty to sort of make a joke about something fucked up if I fucking want to, because I know that I'm not going to do that with malicious intent. I know I'm going to do that just to get a fucking laugh out of it. Like if I want to say here, if I want to make a fucking 9/11 joke, I'm going to make a fucking 9/11 joke. I don't give a shit, because I know that I'm not actually making fun of the thousands of people that died that day. I'm genuinely just making a fucking joke. It's supposed to make you laugh for a couple seconds, and that's it. That's all it is. Right. I think that sums up everything that I had to say anyway. What about you?
Personally, yeah, that was my kind of take on what could be done to sort of, mitigate this over dramatizing effect of this person is bad. Oh, we need to hang them. Holy shit, this person has said something so bad. Oh
Jesus.
my god, it's gonna ruin my life. Oh my god. Just by them saying it, I need to spend 4 hours on a forum writing about how disappointed I am in humanity because this person made a racist joke 15 years ago. Oh my goodness, I think I need to tell my mom as well. My mom, my grandma. Just chill out, God.
Honestly, I just don't care. Like, do you not have anything better to do? Like, Loki, do you not have anything better to do? Oh yeah, I'm just gonna go on the internet and just fucking find something to be mad about. That's all these people are. They're just waiting to
Basically.
find something to be mad about. Just don't do that, man. Just relax. Just relax. Don't engage. If you don't like something, don't engage.
I need to purify these words out of my lips simply because I'm just like, ugh, can't believe I said those things. It's
Right.
making me cringe internally. Like,
True. As cringy as the thumbnail for this stream was, almost as cringy.
oh, why you gotta do me like that, bro?
Manga
Why you gotta
ass.
do me like that?
All right. Well,
Oh,
anyway, I'm going to end stream now. Also, I'm streaming on YouTube Gaming now for a bit, so fucking subscribe. And I'm not done for today. I'm gonna stream Minecraft in like 5 minutes. So nice. Actually, wait, Alfred, did you make me a thumbnail? Did you make me a thumbnail, bro? Fuck's sakes. It's fine. I'll just okay. Wait. Can you do something for me? Wait. Can you just take like a dot block in the rest is just a dot block are surrounded by grass, right? Like Minecraft grass, and there's just one dot block on the ground, right? And it just says Minecraft SMP with the boys. Can you do that for me?
Oh my god.
It's
Can I
as
get
easy as
dinner?
fucking yeah. Get dinner, mate. It's fine. I mean, like okay, 15 minutes. 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Oh, Minecraft time? Yes, sir. All right. Anyway, bye bye.
Bye.